Hello, my name is Rachel, and if you are new to crystals, or even if you're not new to crystals, stick around. A few days ago, I made a video with some crystal basics. I will link it down in the caption if you want to check that out. And today I am doing a follow-up to that, and we're going to start off with Celstite versus blue calcite, and how you can tell the difference when you are buying something online. I have seen countless times where there is a tower, a sphere, something like this, that a seller is calling Celstite instead of blue calcite. Now, Celstite is going to look like this. Blue calcite is going to look like this. And when you're buying online, sometimes even the seller might be uninformed, but blue calcite is what is usually going to be a cut and polished material, mainly because Celstite grows in clusters, usually kind of like in a geode formation. It can grow as an individual crystal, but that's likely going to be small. So it is not something where you're going to see a lot of the times cut and polished. Now, occasionally you can see a sphere that is not going to be super pretty, and it might have like a druzy, geode kind of area that is Celstite. But in general, the matrix with Celstite is kind of crumbly and sort of fragile-ish, especially once it's wet, which most polishing, cut and polishing type things, you need to make it wet. And it is sort of a crumbly kind of, it can fall apart. So kind of difficult to cut and polish this. Maybe would see it as a tower with the druzy, but you are never going to see it in this type of kind of formation. I don't have a blue calcite sphere to show you, otherwise I would. This is all I have that is cut and polished blue calcite at my disposal. Now, another thing to look out for is going to be lab-grown crystals. Now, this is lab-grown amethyst because it is purple. And when these are grown, they are given a little matrix. They're seeded and then given the quartz, and it will crystallize. And you can usually tell lab-grown. You'll get something that is a little bit too uniform. I mean, there is some uniformity in nature, but like these are just a little too uniform. Usually you will have a lot of pieces that look very, very, very similar. And when it comes to raw materials, I mean, it's different than a cut and polished kind of a thing. So finding 50 clusters that look just like this, all the same, that would be highly unusual. So this is an example of a lab-grown amethyst. I've seen this in other materials as well, like clear quartz, rose quartz. It's just something to be on the lookout for. And if a seller says it is natural, it is not. And that is a big red flag that your seller doesn't necessarily know much about what they're selling. All right, next, let's discuss dyed. In my other video, I did discuss heat treatment, which can affect the color of things, but that is going to be a different effect than dyed. Dyed usually is going to give you a color that looks a little too good to be true. Not always 100% recognizable. For instance, I just got in some blue apatite bracelets that I immediately contacted the manufacturer on. I actually tested these with a little bit of acetone nail polish remover because I was suspicious. I don't know if it's going to show up on here, but just even the slightest bit of blue coming off on my paper towel when I did that told me that these were dyed. I am getting a refund for them, thank goodness, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these, but this is not blue apatite, and I was immediately suspicious just because of the color. Looks very, very similar to that back there. We're going to look at these again real quick here. So there is no depth to these. If we're looking at them, they just kind of look flat. And blue apatite does not normally look flat. Granted, it could have been a low quality blue apatite, but blue apatite usually has a bit of flash and then some depth to it. so you can kind of see into the apatite. I absolutely love blue apatite. These are out of my personal collection. I do not have any for purchase, but and then you can see all the different variations in the color too here. One last example, like you're able to see into blue apatite. While the color in general kind of matches, the stones themselves do not. And I immediately contacted my wholesaler on those. Pretty disappointed. I really wanted some more blue apatite because mine are all gone. Now here's one. I can't tell you 100% for sure that this was dyed, but these were going around about a year ago. And if you were to like break this open, you would be able to see where the color stops. The same with these. These are commonly called sardonyx and are actually, if they were completely natural, would be a lot lighter color. This kind of red, reddish orange, this deep color. If we were to say like slice through there, there would probably be a point where that color stops. So they look little bit nicer than they would when they come out of the ground, but these are enhanced for color. This one, quite possibly, I'm not 100% certain, but the dyed ones did look really, really similar to this. Now, where I had said about the color being too good to be true, there are things that are going to look absolutely gorgeous and not be dyed. Fluorite is a great example of that. Now, this type of fluorite here is commonly heated to enhance the color. Doesn't necessarily mean for sure if you get those kind of colors, it is heated. Natural fluorite does come available in like the beautiful purples, the blues, mint greens, the Baja green. So just because it's a pretty fluorite doesn't necessarily mean it's been treated in any way. But this type of fluorite is commonly heated to get the good color. It is available natural, but lots of times if it's cut and polished, there's a good chance it has been heated. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also, this color back here, while this has been dyed, it is available as natural stone. So it's not necessarily that that color doesn't exist. It's just, what is the material? Does that material come in that color? Quartz, a geode slice like this does not come in that color. This is K2. This does come in that color. And speaking of colors, there are absolutely beautiful, beautiful pieces that do have varieties of colors in them. And just because they have multiple colors does not mean that they are dyed or heat treated. These are all just like colorful moss agates and absolutely beautiful. These are out of my personal collection again, but it is possible to have gorgeous colors that are natural. My favorite materials, which would be the rainbow plume agate that has the blues and the pinks and pretty little druzy pockets, which that is another indicator. Zoom way in there. So if this had been dyed, you would have color in here. You would not have beautiful, pretty white left because the dye would have soaked into that kind of an area. By the way, that one's available. I absolutely welcome questions. So if you have any question about a material I showed or any other material, please leave a comment. And if you haven't already, make sure that you like and that you're following. And I really appreciate if you share with your crystal loving friends, just so that way everybody is making informed decisions, because you want to make sure that you know what you are spending your hard-earned crystal money on. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks so much. Bye.